U.S. Supreme Court blocks the Trump administration's use of the Alien Enemies Act. And we're actually going to pull up another article. There it is. Let's see exactly what they have to say. President Trump cannot use the 18th century Alien Enemies Act to quickly deport a group of terrorists. They are designated as terrorists. The Venezuelan gang members are designated as terrorists. I mean, that's a fact, but check it out for yourself in case I got it wrong. Currently being held in Texas, the Supreme Court ruled on Friday. I believe only 2 judges dissented from this. So, in other words, it doesn't matter what these people are categorized as, and that speaks directly to what we talk about here in Service to White Well-Being, which is the thing that fundamentally matters in any society, and in particular for us in the West today, is the social morality of the West. The social morality of the West is the anti-white immoral imperative. If you don't contend with that, everything else is superficial. The laws are superficial because they're interpreted, and what has weight there is the morality, the social morality, not what you think your priest said, not what your 1950 priest said, definitely not what your 2025 priest is saying. That's not the morality of the West. That was defeated. And that's something you have to accept if you're going to be able to move forward. In an unsigned order, the justices ruled that the South Americans should remain in the U.S. While lower courts decide. Now, here we're talking about the lower courts that were created by Congress never gave these courts the right. And this right now is a question before the Supreme Court. We'll see how they end up ruling. Never gave these lower courts the power to rule over the nation. They break these lower courts up into districts. Now, you might say, I need all the details for this, Jason. I need to know exactly what is going on so that I can get in and tinker with or help tinker with, and you actually can't do anything, let's be honest. But so that others that I follow can get in and tinker with and argue over how many angels can stand on the head of a pin or whatever it might be. And to do that is to waste your ever-loving time, because the morality of the day, the anti-whites will find another way. Even if you won there, in 5 years or so, they will just reinterpret your victory to mean that it serves them in their interests. We have to deal with the psychological warfare that has created the morality of the West, the social morality of the West. So these lower courts, these lower district courts, even though their control is segmented, they have just assumed anti-white power over the totality of the population. And literally in the Supreme Court, they're hearing case and they're arguing that, yes, naturally these courts, even though it might be this district for this or that district, they can speak for the totality of the country. And why is that? Because it expedites these questions. It speeds it up. Well, that's not how the founding fathers intended the country to work. They wanted things to go slowly so that there couldn't be great big changes that could undermine. But what was in place when the founding fathers created the white founding fathers created the United States for the white race? They specifically said so. The Supreme Court specifically said so. The Immigration Act, they specifically said so. The literal founding fathers who created this country reserved citizenship to white males of good standing. So they literally created it. Well, what was different then? The difference was the social morality of the United States, of the population. That's what was different. And now it's changed. It's been circumvented by the anti-white immoral imperative, completely undermined it. And here we are today, where judges in a district somewhere in the United States can make a decision for the totality of the United States as if they are the Supreme Court. And here's the thing that's really shocking. These judges are acting by themselves. It's not en banc. There isn't a panel of judges like there is with the Supreme Court. They are the supreme tyrants of the land. And they have been getting their anti-white will achieved for decades now. For decades, they have been doing this. There's always going to be a way for people who are motivated by anti-whiteism to rig the system. You have to address the moral imperative and defeat it in people's homes, in their workspaces. This is the only path to victory. You can argue with me all you want. You're wrong. I will defeat you. This is the only path to victory. Because if you block this today, as I just said, they'll just find another interpretation, another vehicle within the government. Congress will just create another little cutout for them to be able to achieve anti-white outcomes. Friday's ruling on April 19 ordered that. And so, I mean, look at this here. We were going to look at Tom Homan on Sunday. What a joke that's become. Maybe we'll look at it on Wednesday. He took this long to cave. You remember Tom, oh, the family can be deported with the illegal alien that's a member of their family. Homan, you remember that guy? You remember that guy? And remember I said, if this guy, those fighting words that he was saying at the very beginning, I said, if this guy is legit, if this is how he really feels, if he's going to continue fighting like this, then this is the guy who should be president. Excuse me. He doesn't feel that way. He just came out and true cuck fashion said, oh, well, I feel so much for all of the brown babies who are suffering. And so we're trying to rescue them. We're trying to rescue the brown babies from the baddies in this brown population. This is literally what he said. And the conservatives are fawning over him for this. Fawning over him. So now everything has changed when it came to the most important issue for the white race and the election of Donald Trump, which was get these people out. Why do we want them out? Because we want a white country. I'm brave enough to say it. So many white people are implicitly in agreement. They're not going to say it. Why? Because the social morality. I just told you, don't you love how I put it all together, a perfect puzzle for you? Because of this social morality, they're afraid to say it. They can't say it. I am not. I will tell you. I want them out, not because they are criminals. Some of them are great people. Some of them are really nice people. Some of them are hardworking. Some of them want to start a business. Some of them want to take my job. Some of them want to start a business that I can't start because they're going to make use of all the forgivable loans, of all of the grants in my tax dollars, of all of the state and federal government assistance to start and run a business, a free accounting that they can get, everything else under the sun that I can't get. Some of them are wonderful people. Still don't want them here. Why? Because I want a white country. I am white. This is our country. I want our instinct, our biospirit manifested in every environment where I go, not only for me, but for you. Because wherever we see the white erasure of our norms, we see environments that we consider hellish. We see environments that we consider unlivable. We see environments that we find intolerable. We see environments that we have to white flight from, that we have to build cages, build our homes into cages as a result of. I don't want that. I want the white environments that we can have if everybody or almost everybody is white. We don't even have to have locks on our front doors or windows, where our car keys can be in the ignition. We don't got to worry, Canada style, of having the law enforcement tell us, put your car keys on the porch so that the thieves can just steal it and they don't have to come into your house to get the keys to steal your car and maybe something horrible happens. Or how about this in the United States? They're saying, put your keys in the basement or put them in a bathroom or room far away from the front door because they're walking up with these electronic antenna readers and they're getting the codes for your ignition and firing up your car in your driveway. I don't want to live like that. I am sick of this. And we do not get to that point with one of these two avenues. One, pretending like it has nothing to do with race. My conservative brothers and sisters, it has everything to do with race. Our victimizers are anti-white. They're not anti-freedom. They're anti-white. They're not anti-liberty. They're anti-white. Another item we might have a chance to look at, they're not anti situations that create mass chaos. They're anti-white. They're not anti-speech. They're anti-white. Here's the other avenue. Blame the non-white races. Oh, well, the car thieves, they're just a bunch of fill into the slur Mexicans. The people in the mass chaos videos, they're just fill in the slur blacks. The people who own most of the media, fill in the slur Jews. Both of these methods have been total failures. Don't come to me and say, Jason, what are you so? You're just like a leftist. You don't want us cussing the non-white people with slurs. I don't want you cussing the non-white people with slurs because it doesn't focus on us. Because by not focusing on us, you are a selfish individualist, and we continue down this line right here. So we reach this point where Donald Trump says the most important thing he communicates in lip service or otherwise to the white population of this country, I'll clean out all of these millions that Biden brought in. Not even a fraction are they getting to. Not even a fraction. He's out there now saying, offering them money, our money, to leave of their own. Why? Because too many of the nodes of power are held by anti-whites. And why is that? Because the social morality is anti-white. The milieu through which the human beings operate and the human beings are infected is anti-white. So everywhere he turns, there's another judge saying no. Everywhere he turns. And you can argue, conservative friends, all day long that, well, they don't actually have that power. That's not right. That's not fair. And you can argue anti-non-white idiots. Oh, well, that's just another effing Jew. That's just another effing black on the. You can argue that all day long. Doesn't fix the problem. Becoming a people fixes the problem. So now we have this appeal makes its way to the Supreme Court because these judges are stopping the Trump administration from shipping people out. They're troubling the waters. They're saying even if they're terrorists, they are literally defined on the terrorist list, along with Al-Qaeda. The Supreme Court is saying, even if you find Al-Qaeda in the United States, you can't just arrest them and box them up and ship them out to Guantanamo Bay. No, they have all the rights of an American. And you know what's interesting about that is they essentially are an American based on the conservative view, which is that anybody that holds the opinion that they're an American is automatically one. Anybody that finds themselves on American soil is an American. So you get all of the rights and privileges without any of the responsibility. The Venezuelan gangs don't have to obey our laws. They don't have to pay in the taxes. They don't have to defend our countries. They don't have to abide by anything, no responsibilities, no debt paid on their part, but they get all the perquisites of citizenship. So what does that do to me? And what does that do to my perquisites of citizenship? It invalidates them. It makes a mockery of that social agreement that I have with the state. Why should I abide by that agreement with the state if the state gives it out to people for free? But of course, this isn't an abstract argument. They're not going to find white people and bring them in or find them here on a terrorist list and decide, oh, they need all of the rights of an American citizen who has all of the responsibilities of an American citizen. Oh, no. This is about race, my conservative brothers and sisters. This is about race. This is anti-whiteism. These people are non-white. And that's what the anti-whites have a problem with. That's why they don't like them being shipped out, even when they're on the terrorist list. At the same time, these anti-whites in these black-robed rat bastards, at the same time, they're squealing about South Africans being brought in because they're white. Because there are hundreds of laws on the books in South Africa since 94, led by the anti-white demon, Nelson Mandela, and his wife, and so many others, and all their burning necklaces and all of that kind of garbage, all of the murders they were responsible for, and the murders and the gang rapes and the ritualistic murders over there, decapitations, and they're fleeing and they're saying, no, they shouldn't be allowed in. The only reason, of course, is because they're white. And my conservative buddies, brothers and sisters out there, I'm already seeing what I predicted. As soon as we heard the Trump administration might help out South Africans and bring them in months back to the United States, I pointed out that you all so cowardly would be saying, well, it's not just going to be the white ones. This isn't about race. It's going to be black ones too. And they're prosecuted, and a bunch of people over there being persecuted and everything. And I turn on Instagram, I turn on Facebook, I turn on everywhere I look, and it's you conservative brothers and sisters out there saying the exact things I predicted. It isn't about race. It absolutely is. Take your heads out of your asses. So here you have the anti-white Supreme Court. It's all going to be resolved by the court that Trump put into position. This is Trump's Supreme Court. Amy Coney Barrett couldn't be more anti-white. You find a white person adopting non-white children intentionally when there are white children coming out the wazoo, as the saying goes, that need adopting. And they specifically are like, nope, I'm going to have the non-white children. You got a non-white piece of shit right there. Friday's ruling follows the April 19th order, block quick deportations under 7098 law invoked by the administration earlier this year. We did not on April 19 and do not now address the underlying merits of the party's claims regarding the legality of removals under the AEA. The majority opinion read, noting at the very end that the government could still deport migrants under other lawful authorities. You mean like the other authorities, like the other red tape, heavily anti-white burdened authorities who will determine, since so many nodes of power are in the hands of anti-whites, who will determine, no, you have a legitimate claim. No, you're persecuted by the gang down the street where you're from. Oh, is that what it is? Okay, so you are legitimately in the United States. You're an American citizen now. You can have the state persecuting you, ritualistically murdering you, taking property and real property and assets from you. But if you're white, that's not persecution. But if the gang down the street doesn't like you, or if there are some meanies in your neighborhood that don't like the fact that at least you claim you're homosexual, or at least you claim you're transgender, there is a gigantic cottage industry. An anti-white created gigantic cottage industry, creating the documents and the arguments and the legal whereofs for anybody to come into this country and immediately be granted citizenship. Nobody in this country has ever agreed to, if you take a dump, you have a new citizen. Nobody ever agreed to that. That is inflicted on us. Absolutely disgusting. Well, here you have it. It's not your country, white man, and brothers and sisters out there, the cucks and the, maybe we'll use, because there's so many of them, are Juicebergs. We'll call it the cucks and the schmucks. Maybe that's what it'll have to be. I mean, that's appropriate. You all call yourselves, so many of you, goyim. So for the cucks and the schmucks, this is the country and the countries we now have across the West because of your two approaches. Because pretend it's not about race and be anti-non-white. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. We need to be focused on ourselves. And you're not focusing on our people. I mean, this is infuriating. You're not focusing on our people with some lip service at the beginning of a stream or an argument or a diatribe where you give 10 seconds to, this is for the Aryan beauty of the Aryan woman. And then you spend 3 hours being anti-non-white. That this is unbelievably infuriating. This is the law of the land. They can't ship these people out now. And you have Tom Homan turning around saying, well, we're just trying to save all the brown babies from the brown gangsters. You know how many brown babies I've held in my arms? And then the whole conservative, this whole white audience is like, what a hero. What a hero. No. How long? It didn't take him long to be bought off, did it? How long did it take Kashin Patel and Ballis Bajino to be bought off? I mean, it didn't even take 6 months. And they come out and they're like, yep, Epstein didn't kill himself. What's next? Aryan nations killed Kennedy. I mean, what's next? Unbelievable. The idiocy we have in the population of this country as a consequence of incorrect focuses. The cucks and the schmucks. Absolutely sick of it. So they've handed down, and they might have to find another way so that maybe in 17 years, if they haven't disappeared into the population and had 45 children, that now they can't be deported because they're the fathers of all these and mothers of all of these children. Now they can't go because that would be wrong to harm a non-white family. Oh, who cares about the white families? Who cares? The white people don't even care. The cucks and the schmucks don't care, do they? The cucks say it's not about race. The schmucks are like, we hate Jews, we hate blacks. They don't care what happens to white people. So that's where we are. High court freeze on Alien Enemies Act deportations apply only to the migrants held in North Texas for now. Wait till those interpretations come in. However, other judges have separately paused deportations in New York, Colorado, South Texas, and more to come. Courts that do not have anywhere where it is articulated that they have national jurisdiction. Nowhere. And in fact, the very description of their entities broken up into districts signifies that they don't have this national power, that they can't overrule the president of the United States. I mean, you do see further writing on the wall. You do see further. I mean, how could you prosecute a war against a literal invasion with tanks? As though that will never be done again because it's not necessary. It's not necessary in the West. It's not even needed. That's not even the path to defeating Western civilization. Anti-whiteism is. They call out the 101st Airborne or 82nd Airborne. They call them out. And some judge says, oh, you got to recall those paratroopers because we have not followed a legal process to actually find out exactly why these Chinese troops are here. That might be a cuttable segment that, who knows, in the future might end up being all too true.